Hi everyone, in this video I'll show you how to install KaliLinux in a virtual machine. KaliLinux is an open source, meaning free. It is an advanced operating system designed for penetration testing and security auditing purpose. It is not designed for general use. If you want, you can install it, but it is not a user-friendly for a normal use. Now I'm using Ubuntu host machine, but the configuration process would be the same for other host machines as well, except with few exceptions. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into the installation process now. You can install Kali Linux on 32 or 64-bit operating systems. The minimum system requirements are to have at least 2 GB of RAM and 20 GB of free disk space. Now first, we are going to install VirtualBox. So open your browser and type VirtualBox on your browser tab. Now click on the first link that says virtualbox.org. From the left pane, click Downloads. Now select the package from the list based on the type of your operating system. Now choose the right package that matches with the version of your operating system and save it on your machine. Now you can minimize this window and open your terminal. Now first, update your system using apt-update command. Now navigate to the file that you have downloaded. Now copy this file and you can use the dpkg command or the apt command, either way. So I'm going to use the dpkg command. Now the VirtualBox installation is done. You should see a new icon added to your applications list. Now you can minimize this. Next, to download the Kali installer, open your search engine again and type Kali Linux on your search tab. Click on the first link, kali.org. Click Download. The VirtualBox pre-built image size is smaller than installer images, and of course this may save some download time, but it won't have any impact in the performance wise later. So I prefer to install fresh Kali in the VM that I have created locally. So we are going to use the installer images option. Click Installer Image tab. Now choose the type of your operating system. If you have 32-bit operating system, then select the second option. Or if you have Mac operating system with M1 or M2 or M3 chips based on ARM architecture, then select the third option. The size for the ISO file is 3.8 GB. So be patient as this may take a little bit time depending on your internet download speed. Now my download is done. Open your VirtualBox. Click New to create a new VM. Now you can name your virtual machine and operating system. For the folder, you can specify the file path. By default, it is going to save it under the home directory with a default folder name. You can change the path, or you can edit the folder name, or you can leave it as is. Now for the ISO image, leave as is. I'm going to show you later where you can attach the ISO file to the optical device. For type, it should be Linux. So if it is not selected, make sure you select Linux. Version should be Debian 64-bit. If you have 32-bit, choose Debian 32-bit from the list. Now click Next. Now give RAM at least 2 GB or above. It's a good practice to give enough RAM that enables you to do the tasks that you want to do in your VM. For CPU, you can give at least 2 or above. Click Next. For virtual hard disk, give at least 20 GB or above and leave the rest as is. Click Next. Now review the summary settings and click Finish. Click Settings for additional customization. Click General. Check the name. If you want to make any changes, you can do so. Verify the type is Linux and the version is Debian 64. Click Advanced. You can enable the shared clipboard functionality, but do it with caution because enabling the clipboard in bidirectional mode enables the guest to read and write the host clipboard and host to guest. You can also enable drag and drop functionality. It enables you to easily transfer data between host and guest and vice versa. Now click System. You can change the boot order, but it won't affect anything as the VM can automatically tell guests to start from the virtual or optical drive. Now click Processor tab. Now make sure the execution cap is set to 100%. You can enable the virtualization features for 32-bit and 64-bit. If you have 32-bit, you can choose the first option. If you have 64-bit, you can enable both of them. Click Acceleration tab. As you can see, the para virtualization is set to default, so leave it as is, and this will automatically pick the appropriate interface for you. But later, if you have any performance issue, you can play around by switching one off from this list to see which interface works better for your VM. As per the documentation guide, Minimal should be selected for Mac, Hyper-V for Windows, and KVM for Linux host machine. Now click Display. To enhance performance graphics display, increase video memory to 128, and if you want to increase it to 256, I will show you later. You can enable 3D acceleration, and this feature will allow guest machine to use the host GPU to render 3D graphics through the OpenGL or Direct 3D API. So enabling 3D graphics could also expose the host to additional security risks, so do it with caution. But also I want to mention that this also depends on the guest operating system. Let's say if you have untrusted guest systems, or if you are running unsafe apps in the guest operating system with enabling this option, then the virtual machine will not protect your host from being vulnerable. Also, you need to install the guest additions in order to use the 3D acceleration feature. Now click Storage to select the ISO file that you have downloaded. You may see it in the list when you click this icon, but if you couldn't see it, click Choose a disk file option and navigate to the file you have downloaded. And make sure the ISO file is attached to the optical drive. You'll see it under the information section if it is attached. Now click Network. To configure your network, click this down arrow key. You can select bridged adapter if you want to make a remote connection, or you can choose NAT or host-only adapter for private and local use. Now click Advanced. Here you need to specify the appropriate adapter for the network you have selected. Now click User Interface. To enable the mini toolbar, check mark Show at top of screen box. Now click OK. Now to increase the video memory size from 128 to 256, click on the 128 megabytes. From here you can increase it to 256 megabytes. Now click OK. Now review the settings and start the VM with a normal start option. Now select the first option and hit Enter. Select your language and click Continue. Select your location and click Continue. Select your keyboard language and click Continue. Now for the host name, if you have already one, you can use it. Otherwise, you can create one. You can give any name. I will leave it as is Kali. Click Continue. For the domain name, you can create one that has .something like .com, .org, .net, etc. But in order to be valid and usable throughout your network, it needs to be the same domain name on all other devices that you have in the same network. Click Continue. Now create a user and click Continue. I will leave this section as is. Click Continue. Now create a strong password. Now click Continue. Select your time zone and click Continue. Choose the first option, use entire disk. Click Continue. Click Continue again. Select the first option, all files in one partition. Click Continue. Click Continue. Now the configuration process is finished here. So select Yes and click Continue. For now, leave the default selection as is. Later, if you want, you can install GNOME and KDE Plasma. Click Continue. Now, depending on how your computer's hardware speed is, the installation may take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, so be patient. Now leave the default Yes as is, click Continue. Now select the virtual hard disk drive and click Continue. Now the installation is done, but before you click Continue, check the installation media if it is removed from the optical drive. Now select the first option, kalilinux/Linux, and hit Enter. Now you can log in using your new username and password. You can change the size of your screen using the scaled mode from View menu. Click Switch.